Hey everyone, we're back with more mediocre chess. Gonna start searching for a game. Last video we got a nice comment from Ziggy's Adventures where he was talking about the opening I did and giving me some pointers on moves that are good to play in that situation. So that was helpful. I liked looking through that, looking at that line he was talking about. I like the sharing of knowledge. Get into this game. Got a 1521 spaghetti fault. If there are any openings you'd like to see me play, see how I think about them and deal with them, just let me know in the comments. I can certainly try that. Sometimes it's hard to pick a specific opening because your opponent has to cooperate, but you can certainly give it a try. This is something I hardly ever do, this really early fianchetto. I'm going to avoid that double for now. That probably wasn't smart. Sometimes I do that, and it just leads to bad things. But it's just a pawn at this level. That's usually not deadly. I could hold on to the bishop pair. That might be good. I think I'll look to castle queenside because I messed up this structure. Bring my knight here, looking to come here, attack this bishop, or he'll fix my pawn structure. I could go here, he might block here, or block here. If he blocked with the pawn, I'd just have to retreat. Blocked with a knight, well, he wouldn't block with the knight, it'd just be dropping the knight. He might block with the knight here. If he blocked with the pawn, I just have to retreat, and then he'd come here and I'd retreat more and I'd be back where I start. So I think I'm just gonna come back here. Keep this bishop looking at as many squares as it can. Whereas if I were kicked back to here, I'd really only have a couple squares. So I think this is better. I'll try to get this bishop active. And then I'm not really sure which side I should castle to. He's coming here and here, those are both protected. I'll just keep developing for now. So he's castled kingside. If I castle queenside and then start pushing these pawns, that might be hard for him to defend. I'm going to try that, and I'm going to support this bishop in case he moves this knight. Might be able to kick the knight with this pawn at some point. I don't know if he's trying to push my bishop off, if he's just giving an escape space. Either way, I'm going to castle for now. I don't want to deal with that. Just let him take it. Retake with the pawn. I could take him. he'd recapture, and I feel like that's a strong pawn structure for him. I think I'm going to go here with the bishop and retake with the bishop if he takes. Although now he can come here and I have to move my bishop off. I'm going to come here, protect this square. He can take my bishop, but I'll retake with this pawn. Now I'm going to take here. I think I like this better. I like not having a pawn on this file. I'm not really sure why, but it seems they can't kick these bishops as easily, so I think that's better for me. And keep looking to the king side. His rook is coming down. I just gotta watch where the rook's on one side of the queen and the king's on the other side, because you can get pinned. But as long as this pawn's in the way and defended and can't be kicked, I should be okay. But I do have to get moving soon. How do I want to do that? I'm going to come here, look at sliding my rook over, look at pushing this pawn, and just start weakening these defenders of the king. His queen's pretty stuck in there right now, and so is this rook, whereas all of my pieces are pretty active, maybe with the exception of this rook, but I plan to activate it soon. I think that's okay. Yeah, now he's looking to come down in, which makes sense. I don't want to let that happen. I don't want the check here. I don't want to move this pawn up, because then that opens up the knight. I'm going to... what am I going to do? Now he's looking down here too. I'm going to move up here. Right, so he's attacking. There now. I guess that will be dropping a pawn at some point. Maybe right now. Yeah, he's kind of activated these, and I think I need to take that, which I don't love. Defend here, here. Gonna go for here. I still have activity on this side. I just need to be able to use it in 55 seconds. Yeah, he keeps kicking this bishop. Oh, I'm just dropping this bishop. That was stupid. Gotta come back further. I might... oh, he didn't see that. Okay. Now what? I think just get him off that file. I think I'm just going to exchange down because I have two bishops, bishop pair, in a more open board that should benefit me. I'm not sure about this pass pawn, but if I can keep it blocked. Knights are tricky though. I've got to watch them, watch forks. Stay active, try to keep restricting this knight. I'm blocking a lot of his squares, he really just can retreat right now. I'm going to take... Gotta get this bishop active. Might be dropping this pawn. Come back here. Look at these pawns. I don't think you can defend both of those. He's definitely got the advantage right now, but I might be able to pull it out. We will see. It's kind of an interesting bishop pair versus knight pair endgame. Don't feel like you see that a lot. I'm going to take the pawns. If he takes, I'll recapture. Losing the bishop pair for the material of the pawns. That's weird. I'm going to go here, let him recapture. And I'll capture. Pressure this pawn. Don't think he can defend both of those. Nope, I get this. He gets that pawn though. This pawn might be running. This is a good defense position for this bishop. The bishop separated by 2 squares from the knight. Anywhere the knight goes forward is protected by that bishop. Kind of confusing arrows, but any forward motion from the bishop towards this direction, or from the knight towards the pawn direction, is protected by this bishop. So there's not a lot he can do quickly. He has to retreat and then come forward. He doesn't even have a lot of retreat squares right now, because if he goes here, then moving forward is here. Here I can take, I don't know if he's trying to just get away with those. I'll just block him off. Hey, I got it. Nice. So I was looking a little poor there for a while, but I liked how that ended. Let's see what the computer has to say. As usual, the opening was unremarkable, I think. I rarely come out of an opening thinking, wow, that was something. Mainly because I don't know the theory of the openings, I think. So unless I drop a piece stupidly, or which I kind of did this opening actually, but yeah, right there, I just dropped the pawn. So I guess this just can't be that bad, doubling a pawn. Can't really avoid that in these openings necessarily. If he does it, then that's a big advantage for me, it's saying. I don't know if that's because I have an open middle or what, but I should just let that happen. Anyway. I didn't. I let him take pawn. And I think this was a mistake for him. Yeah, inaccuracy. He loses basically all of his lead. Although I'm surprised by that. Saying I should recapture with the outside pawn. I guess to open up my rook. I'm surprised it's not better to fix the pawn structure though. But I guess not. But I do that. He pushes forward. Saying I should apply a check there, which I guess makes sense. Well, no, it's saying I should drop back. Okay, maybe I found the right move. It is liking that queen to a4 move, though. I don't feel like that really accomplishes much, but maybe it does. Let's look back here. If I move forward, doesn't he just defend? And what does that get me but an outside queen? I don't know. I guess it's good because the computer says it is, but I don't really see it. Nothing too interesting. We can see in this graph down here, he has a lead for most of it, and it looks like I make a big blunder here that he misses. So let's see what that is. Nothing too exciting in the middle here. he's building a little bit of a lead. Yeah, that situation I didn't love. Oh yeah, that's that blunder. I saw that too as soon as I moved this bishop. But thankfully he didn't. Just taking the open bishop there. Really not. And this was what I was looking at for a follow-up, but I don't think it really gets out of it. So then he can just move. Anyway, he didn't see it, which was good. So it wants me just to keep pushing these pawns, which I guess makes sense. When I'm behind, it's probably better not to get rid of material. I think here I was looking at the clock. You can see over here I had 54 seconds and he had 3:12. So I think I was just trying to simplify because of time. Still wants me to push that pawn. I still want to trade off material. So here it just wants me to push his knight off. So how does that go? I push the knight, and then I can push this knight maybe. Yeah, that's interesting. Just trying to get rid of both these two defenders. I didn't really even see that because I didn't think I'd have time to get two defenders off, but I guess all those are kind of forced. But then it's saying he comes and attacks my bishop. That's pretty interesting. So I'm attacking his knight, so I can recapture a piece if he gets a piece. But just looking at this, you'd think this would be check, which it is, but I think then I have time to push that knight and still get this knight. So that'd be here. Oh, and he just has to take because of that, which makes sense, and then I get the bishop. But if he went here, then I would be able to push him off. Or at least save time, so he'd have to defend, and then I could get his knight. Interesting. But instead, I lose that. Yeah, and I was just looking to come down here like I did. I don't think he played this very well. And I went ahead and took. I guess it's wanting me to preserve the bishop pair. But I went ahead and took. Again, trying to simplify down because of time. And I don't know, that's kind of tricky for him. I guess probably it wants to move here because then it's protecting this knight, it's protecting this square for this pawn to push. Although I'd still take this and pressure that knight. I'm not sure. Probably don't understand it well enough. I did get that right. He pushes. I did wonder about that. I think I was looking for these, but I didn't see this. So once I go here, he has a fork. And I just have to let him get that bishop, because if I protect, he gets my bishop. If I take him, then he's free. Yeah, so I think that's another big miss from him. Right here. He doesn't see. Yeah, that's just... So he's looking at this pawn, looking to get compensation, but this is really his advantage here. He needs to keep hold of that. Thankfully didn't see it though. It's kind of a lot of chess at this level, is who misses the least. If you find all the tactics that are in a game, you'll probably win at this level. I think strategy definitely helps at this level, but if you're well above the other person tactically, then your strategy, as long as it's basically sound, works. Whereas at the Grandmaster level, they don't miss a lot of tactics, they miss hardly any, and so it comes down a lot more to strategy, which I think is why their games are a lot more even. It's just they kind of whittle down each other's pieces until they get to the end game, and most of them are a draw, and every once in a while someone has a better strategical setup, so they win. But anyway, move forward here. Stop rambling. So yeah, here I think he's, so it's only giving me plus 0.9. So I do have an advantage, but I guess it's still pretty close. Just at first glance, you might think he's ahead here because he has really just the one pass pawn, but he has an extra pawn. He has 3 pawns and a knight to my 2 pawns and a bishop. But with his bishop, or with his knight way up here, and not really a very good way to move forward, and my pawn over here, I have the advantage. So he takes this pawn, but what's this pawn going to do? He's going to move up 1 and be stuck. There's really no, this is the threat for him, you know, in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 moves, I win if he doesn't stop this pawn, and his king isn't going to get there in time. A trick that you may or may not know, if you're trying to race down a pawn with your king, an easy way to do it is make a square with, so if you take your pawn and you take the distance he has to go, and then you make a square of equal sides. So this square is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But really, if I have the first move, then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's, sorry, this square here, and then 6 this way. And so if you go 6 each way and make that square, if the king is not inside of that square, then the pawn's going to get there first. And it makes sense. It's just the number of moves he has to make to get there. But it's a little harder if the king was like here. Does he have time to get to this square versus this pawn? Well, he's inside the square, so he would. But in this case, he's outside, so I know his king can't chase down my pawn. And it's actually a little bit, my pawn is a little bit faster than that, because this move he has 2 moves, because it's the first move, obviously. So really the square is like this big. So he's well outside of that. Anyway, knight takes the pawn, which I think is a mistake. Yeah. So that's his big mistake, is he basically loses in that move. And better, it'd still probably be a tricky ending. It's saying better is pushing this pawn. I don't know, if I was playing it, I'd probably look to move the knight here, apply that check, and then start moving the knight around. So that's a little worse, but I guess it's certainly better than taking this pawn. I'd start looking at things like that and just work my way over here to get this pawn, but definitely a hard win for him here. And in general, bishops like having space, knights like having closed boards. So this board is super open, so you would expect my bishop to be better. Anyway, this video is getting long, so I'll wrap it up. He takes there, I push forward. And the last thing I want to mention here, I talked about it in the game, but bishops are really good at defending knights if they get in the right place. So here, the knight is trying to move here, 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 or here to make any progress towards this pawn that's racing home. But this bishop is staring down those diagonals. So this knight has nowhere to go. He can't push forward without dropping to the bishop. So instead, he has to drop back. And then another point I kind of mentioned, I think, was the only way for the knight to move forward is to drop back and then push forward. But the only way he has to drop back, he's blocked here and here by his own pieces. So the only place he can drop back are here and here, which here just drops way back and is very slow. So here would be better in theory, coming here to here, but my king is blocking this. So, I mean, I didn't really plan this setup ahead of time. I did notice it, but this knight just really has nowhere to go, or, you know, this way. And either way, my king is blocking those kind of in a similar way to the bishop. So the bishop's blocking any forward progress, and then my king is blocking his only secondary forward progress. So he's really kind of screwed over there. So I push the pawn, he pushes his pawn, I push again. I'm not sure, I think this must just be he was low on time, or he gave up, or I'm not sure what. So at this point, now finally he's been to move to open up there. So he could push here, but it's too late, my pawn is running. That's still better than just losing it, I guess. Maybe he's trying to distract my bishop. So thinking if I go here, then now he can push past my bishop, and maybe he was hoping he could win, but I mean that's still 1, 2, 3 moves to get away, and my bishop can always protect that square. So really, yeah, it's mate in 12 from here. He really just didn't have an option. So I took, moved, and he resigned. So pretty good game. I was clearly losing through most of it, but really other than these 2 blunders, the big spikes, I was in it at this level. As long as you're not down too far, it's always anyone's game in a 5-minute game. So sorry that video went so long, but hopefully it was instructive, and let me know if you have any comments. Thanks. Bye.